Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I am Anand Narasimhan. RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das has highlighted that Bharat is at a threshold of a major structural shift in its growth trajectory. The governor added that Bharat is moving ahead towards 8% GDP growth in a sustained manner, adding that the average growth Bharat recorded in the last 3 years is 8.3%. Meanwhile, Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council member Sanjeev Sanyal has said that Modi 3.0 will show absolute policy continuity. He said that there was a huge change on how Bharat was being viewed by the world. He mentioned that India was earlier seen as a peripheral emerging market where people could patronizingly speak about Bharat's development, poverty removal and so on, whereas now Bharat is seen as integral to the world economy. Banking and information technology stocks have also taken market indices to fresh peaks on a Tuesday on the backdrop of a relatively quiet period over the past week, marked by investors sitting on the fence awaiting for some sort of stimulus, especially from the upcoming union budget. Meanwhile, following a 90% year-on-year growth in FY 2024, electric car sales in our country are likely to reach 1.3 to 1.5 lakh in the current fiscal year, FY 25, according to CareEdge rating report. Women government employees are entitled to take up to 180 days or 6 months of maternity leave for children born through surrogacy following recent amendments by the Centre to 50-year-old rule. According to the amendment in the Central Civil Services Leave Rules 1972, the commissioning mother, the mother of the child born through surrogacy, is eligible for these leaves. Commissioning fathers are entitled to 15 days of paternity leave. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to what is debate number one on this edition of The Right Stand, this midweek edition. Now, another major jolt for the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal in this entire Liquorgate case. The Delhi Court Special Judge Amitabh Rawat has sent Arvind Kejriwal to 3 days in custody with the CBI, saying that he should be produced in court on the 29th of June before 7 p.m. Now, the agency had sought his custody, saying they need to confront him with some documents, and rejected the criticism around the timing of the arrest. The CBI could have done this exercise ahead of the Lok Sabha elections, during the elections, but it did not. It was only after Arvind Kejriwal went back at the end of his interim bail that the agency sought permission. This is what Special Public Prosecutor D.P. Singh, appearing for the CBI, told the special judge, who had declined to interfere with the CBI questioning and arresting Arvind Kejriwal. Now, to a question by the judge as to why the agency was arresting Kejriwal at this stage, D.P. Singh said that the CBI received the sanction to prosecute the Chief Minister under the Prevention of Corruption Act in April. But the prosecution did not want to overreach the majesty of the Honorable Supreme Court, which was at that time considering Arvind Kejriwal's release on interim bail at that time. D.P. Singh told the court that it is absolutely mandatory because now the CBI wants to conclude the investigation by the 3rd of July and there is an emergency for it, and that's why the charge sheet will be filed thereafter. The Delhi High Court on Tuesday had stayed the regular bail granted by the trial court Arvind Kejriwal in the excise policy case being probed by the Enforcement Directorate, stating that the lower court did not apply its mind while passing the order. So now, setback after setback to Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, 3 months in jail. The larger question, ladies and gentlemen, is, has his position as Chief Minister of Delhi become highly untenable now? CNN News18 has actually accessed the CBI's arguments while it sought for the CM's custody. Remember, the Delhi court has sent Kejriwal to 3 days CBI remand. The CBI argued that the excise policy file was moved hurriedly. File moved during peak of second COVID pandemic wave, it said. Then it said Arvind Kejriwal desired excise policy to be approved urgently. Kejriwal's aide Bibhav booked the guest house for the meet. So Bibhav Kumar also features in the CBI's arguments and plea. South Group members held a meeting in the guest house. Corroboration of the complicity of the accused is very, very evident. And South Group members met the accused Nair, approver Arora, at the guest house on the 21st of May 2021. Now, another twist in this case took place earlier in the day as the CBI cited Arvind Kejriwal was trying to put the entire onus or blame shifted onto Manish Sisodia. Arvind Kejriwal vociferously rejected these claims, and the court also objected to the CBI's assertion. The CBI told the court Kejriwal blamed his former deputy Sisodia, blamed Sisodia for recommending privatization of the liquor stores. We have talked on facts. Kejriwal's defense was, I have not made any such statement. Didn't make any statement that Sisodia is guilty. Sisodia is absolutely innocent. We are all innocent. CBI is trying to defame us. CBI allegations are absurd. What the court then said, the court went through what the CBI had to submit. It objected to the CBI's assertion of the CM placing entire onus on his deputy and also the excise minister Manish Sisodia. Arvind Kejriwal mentioned privatization was not his idea. CBI's claim was wrongly perceived. That is what the court had to say. So there was drama around this claim too. Meanwhile, the Enforcement Directorate had earlier contended before the High Court that the lower court's June 20th bail order was perverse and one-sided, and that the findings were based on irrelevant facts. In a note filed on Monday in relation to the entire plea to pause the bail order, the ED had said that the decision did not consider the material demonstrating the AAP chief's neck-deep involvement in the liquor policy case. I'm quoting what is written there. The High Court then said, trial court did not consider the ED's arguments properly. High Court put Arvind Kejriwal's bail on hold again. The larger question and the moot point we are asking is Mr. Kejriwal's position as Chief Minister of Delhi currently highly untenable, ladies and gentlemen, because between the ED and the CBI is his entire game around Liquorgate coming undone for Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. His position as Delhi Chief Minister, that's the larger question. Shazia Almi, National Spokesperson of the BJP with us. We should have Aam Aadmi supporter Huda Zariwala joining us in a bit. Ishkaran Bhandari also with us. Namaste and Jai Hind to Shazia and to Ishkaran. We're waiting for Huda Zariwala to join us. Ishkaran, how do you see this case? If I may ask you and start with you. Do you believe that had it been anybody else other than Arvind Kejriwal, that person would have already been asked to vacate his position as Chief Minister?
Anybody other than Mr. Kejriwal in a similar situation would have resigned. There has not been a need to ask somebody to vacate the position. Let us put it at that pedestal. Even Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav resigned. Even Mr. Hemant Soren resigned. Madam Jayalalitha resigned. So there has not been a need to ask anybody to resign. It's the the very basic, that if you are in jail and you cannot discharge your duties, a state should not be rendered headless, a state should not be rendered in an administrative vacuum, and the next best person from your party, your choice, should head it, because of certain files have to be cleared, which can happen only through the CM's office. So this is a disservice to the people who have elected you when you do not do it. And we are asking, why has the government not taken action or the courts not taken action? The courts, there were some petitions made to the High Court. The courts have been very clear that how much judicial interference you want. At one time, we have this whole narrative of judicial activism, judiciary going into news spheres. Now, should the judiciary be deciding who can be a CM or not CM? Do we not have even basic convention, basic sense of how our constitution works, since everybody is swearing to uphold the constitution? Can it be envisaged under any democracy that a person remains in jail for 90 years and yet he remains as a chief minister in a nation where if you are convicted for 2 years, you can't even contest elections? That is the situation if you see the overarching picture. Yet, if you decide to be shameless and you try to exploit a vacuum, because as of now, there is no judgment on it, then of course somewhere soon a judgment may come on it, which unfortunately would be a bad thing in our democracy, because then the courts will be deciding who can remain as a CM. But you create an impossible situation that very well may happen in future. Best course would be what earlier CMs have done. But this CM, of course, chooses not to do it, which is doubly surprising, because when he came to power, do you remember that entire agitation? It used to be, if somebody is casting an allegation on you without any proof, you should resign. That was the threshold they wanted, allegation to resignation, not even FIR, not even charge sheet. Here in jail is not sufficient to resign. So of course the people of Delhi can see that, and that is what they have seen, and that is why when the Chief Minister specifically made the Delhi election 7 seats as a sort of a public referendum on his arrest. I don't remember the exact language, but he almost said that if you don't want me to see, if you don't want to see me going back to jail, vote for me, give me seats. And the people of Delhi rejected it, rejected that argument, rejected the ground, and in fact did not even give 1 seat. So people have seen through this. What relief you get from court, we will have to see. Right. You might get relief after a few days, a few weeks, few months. But today, you should not be the Chief Minister of Delhi if you have any moral, any moral sense, you should resign immediately.
Who does Jariwala? Namaste.
Namaste.
Your thoughts? Is Mr. Kejriwal's position as Chief Minister untenable? 3 months in jail now, and again 3 more days in custody with the CBI. So not just the Enforcement Directorate, the CBI also getting into the act. One is prevention of money laundering. The other one is a criminal act of complicity in doing something which is against the interest of the state as a Chief Minister. And the CBI is saying he was very well in the know. How would you respond to this question and this demand that Mr. Kejriwal should step down?
Well, we've seen how this entire case from the very beginning is absolutely politically motivated. This is a classic case of political vendetta, wherein from the beginning, neither the CBI nor the ED nor the Income Tax Department has anything substantial to prove against any of the ministers of the Delhi cabinet, or now Arvind Kejriwal ji, the chief minister for that matter. We have seen how when the lower court, the trial court, had in fact granted bail to Arvind Kejriwal ji even before the next day the bail was uploaded. We have seen how ED came in between. They approached the High Court, there was a stay on the bail, and now when the Supreme Court was supposed to hear the entire matter today, CBI suddenly comes in out of nowhere. It is what was the CBI doing for the past 3 months? Arvind Kejriwal ji has been languishing in jail from 21st of the previous 3 months. Let us not forget that Manish Sisodia ji, it's been more than a year. Dr. Satyendra Jain, it's been so long. Atishi ji had to sit on an Anshan Dharna. I mean, that's a different case, I agree. But the whole point is that the BJP government, the BJP Sarkar is not letting Aam Aadmi Party do its work. Where are we to get the justice from? What doors do we knock to finally prove to not just the people of Delhi, but to all of India that this is entirely a politically motivated case? We know for a fact that there has been no proceeds of crime established. Not 1 rupee of corruption has been proven against Arvind Kejriwal.
So may I ask you a simple question?
Please?
May I ask you a simple question before Shazia Almi ji responds to you? If everything was right with this excise policy, why was it cancelled with such haste? The moment the Lieutenant Governor said, we are going to look into the matter and gave this matter to the CBI. The same excise policy with Mr. Kejriwal came on public, gave a long press conference, said this is going to change the whole future of Delhi. The kismat badal dega ji. Something to that effect he said. In that tone, in that very, very tone with which he addresses and speaks to every Delhi person. And I am giving you the guarantee. This is perfect for Delhi. This is a first-class excise policy that's come through. If all of that was true, who does Jariwala? And there is nothing wrong and it's nothing but political vendetta by the BJP. Why did the Aam Aadmi Party cancel this excise policy in such haste overnight?
Let us forget this entire policy was brought into being to actually streamline a process, to streamline the distribution of alcohol in Delhi, unlike how you have seen people were dying from, Zahrili Sharab and all of that in Gujarat. The initial intent wasn't bad, but since we saw that the policies maybe need to be revised, there maybe need to be changes in the policies, it was withdrawn. It was drawn back. But at the same time, we should not forget that the likes of Sarak Reddy, the ones who have taken crores.
Interestingly, 61 people and still counting in Kallakuruchi in Tamil Nadu. And you said Gujarat and you didn't mention Tamil Nadu.
Yes, and not a word from Indy Bloc.
You didn't mention, and nothing's been said
and
by
not a word.
Nothing's been said by the Aam Aadmi Party yet. So I'm just saying, see how conveniently you are trying to evade and try to be economical with facts, Ms. Jariwala. You say something must have been wrong with the policy, but that was ratified by the Chief Minister. So was the Chief Minister lying before or economical with the truth before, or was he economical with the truth later? If there was nothing wrong with the policy, why take it back? Why take it back? Why take it back? Now, who took it back? Mr. Kejriwal took it back. If there was nothing to be afraid of, why was there such a hue and cry that was made around that time? And if there is
but
one
then
ounce
there
of
was
proof
no corruption,
that
then
there
that
was
will never
deliberate
matter.
destruction of
Where is the
evidence,
corruption?
multiple approvers have said that there was deliberate destruction of evidence. There was willful destruction of call records, willful destruction and erasing of phones. So much so that the erasing of phones of certain other people is still under question. I'm just asking, if it was purely political vendetta, then why did all of these sequence of events happen? I'll park this question. Shazia Almi, your response. She's not spoken, and I'll come back to you, Huda ji. I'll come back to you, Ms.
Do you
Zariwala.
remember? For
Ms. Zariwala, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, we can see how.
Ms.
we
Zariwala,
can
I'll come.
see-
Ms. Zariwala, I'll come back to you.
We
Let
can,
Shazia Almi speak, and then I'll come back to you, ma'am. Yeah.
Ms. Zariwala seems to be very muddled and is floundering and doesn't really quite know as to what to say. And she seems to have missed out on the very basic stuff. Maybe one needs to spell it out for her. So, ma'am, let me tell you, the CBI and ED are two different bodies. ED is looking at money laundering under the PMLA Act. CBI looks at bribe taking by public officials. These are two different matters. Manish Sisodia has been in jail because of the excise scam. It was flagged by various members of Congress, and then LG asked the matter to be looked into. There were not just huge discrepancies, but people wonder as to why the policy was revised. Why was the commission fee changed? Why were the liquor vendors, the South lobby brought in as for wholesale purposes? What was the role of Sameer Mahindra? What was the role of Amit Arora? And then, ma'am, please be quiet. Ma'am, please be quiet. I'll just tell you. No, you might either you don't know, ma'am, because I can believe that you are a little informed about what goes on around you. But this is what everybody in Delhi knows.
No,
We've
ma'am,
seen
I'm
it happen,
absolutely
and this was there in the public domain. There was a loss to Exchequer, Delhi. So while there was huge sales which went up multiple fold times, the Rajasva, the state revenue fell, and the fact of the matter was it was done only to promote the wholesalers and the liquor mafia, which is exactly why K. Kavita is in jail. So whether it's Bucci Babu, whether it's Vijay Nair, whether it's PA Arvind, who was Manish Sisodia's PA, or Manish Sisodia himself, and Dinesh Arora and Amit Arora and many other players. We all, no, ma'am, don't keep speaking. And you've just revealed your entire lack of comprehension of the entire matter, not just of the excise scam, but also how the judicial processes work. Now, if you say there is no merit in the matter, why is you're going on, ma'am? A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. No, you will do great service to yourself. You will do great service to yourself if you made yourself familiar with what has gone on and then spoke. It would be better not just for your party, but even for you. So let me finish. I think CM should resign immediately. Can you ask,
okay,
Anand, can you ask
Ms. Zariwala, I'm going to make a request. Ms. Zariwala, see, I was cross-questioning you, or I was asking you questions.
Ma'am, you're all over the place. Let it be.
She did not intervene. She did not intervene. I want to just ask a simple. Okay, Shazia Almi, make your point, and then I'll go back to Ishkaran.
Yeah, let me just finish saying what I'm saying. I think it's totally untenable. I'm saying it's totally untenable. It is a matter of great shame. Just like Ishkaran pointed out, whether it was Jayalalitha or Hemant Soren or Lalu Prasad Yadav, never before have you seen this kind of brazenness. You see the state of affairs in Delhi, and you see the huge evidence glaring, in the face, screaming out corruption. And yet, these people are so brazen, they want to look away, they want to malign. And I want to ask you, ma'am, you want to malign ED, CBI? It's all right, because you want to make it out to be as if they're handmaidens of the government. But why would you mock the judicial processes? And you lied just now when you said the trial court gave the bail. But the High Court, Delhi High Court, next day looked into it, and why the ED's case was not heard. And also this was pointed out that the lady in charge and the learned judge of the vacation bench found the matter too bulky and cumbersome to look into, which is why the matter was taken up by Delhi High Court. So it's not that CBI is in any hurry. It is not that ED is in any hurry. There have been many witnesses. There are recorded statements. There is a crime proceeds. There is a money trail. There is forensic evidence.
Okay.
They are written
Okay,
statements.
let
They are
me
being corroborated,
let me ask you.
and which is why the case is being made.
Let me ask you, Ms. Zariwala, you are saying right now the ED and the CBI has not been able to prove, would not provide one answer. Arvind Kejriwal, no, this is not. We have to just check if these are pictures of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal walking out of court after the court. They are from the courtroom. He is leaving from the courtroom after the CBI was given 3 days custody by the court itself. The judge ruling in favor of the demand for custody, but not allowing a 5-day remand, but a 3-day remand, saying that he has to be presented before 7 p.m. on the 29th of June. Now, my question, Ms. Zariwala, is very simple. You say that the ED and the CBI so far has not been able to prove a single ounce of connection of Mr. Kejriwal. Is Mr. Arvind Kejriwal the patron-in-chief of the Aam Aadmi Party?
Yes, he is.
Is he the person who's the convener of the Aam Aadmi Party?
Absolutely, he is.
Is he the Chief Minister of Delhi?
Yes, he absolutely is.
Did Mr. Manish Sisodia and Mr. Satyendra Jain and Ms. Atishi and Saurabh Bharadwaj, do they all answer to the convener of the Aam Aadmi Party?
Yes, they do.
Does the National Treasurer of the Aam Aadmi Party release funds without sanction of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal? Can he do it of his own whim and fancy?
No, he cannot.
No, he cannot. So if money has been released by the National Treasurer and that money has found its way to the Goa election where Ms. Atishi was in charge, and that route and that money being paid has been proven, and that National Treasurer has said that everything that was done, and he said it under CRPC, was done at the behest of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, how is Mr. Kejriwal not responsible? First question. If these actions could have been, let's give the benefit of doubt to Mr. Kejriwal, that if these actions have been conducted malafide without keeping Mr. Arvind Kejriwal in the loop, then does Mr. Arvind Kejriwal really hold any power within the Aam Aadmi Party? Is he even in control of how the AAP is functioning? In either cases, does his position become highly untenable as Chief Minister?
Absolutely not. Because first off, this so-called money trail that was used in the Goa election, they has not...
Anna?
I've lost your audio. Ms. Zariwala. I'll try and get you back. There was a freeze and then after that I cannot hear you. Yes, Ishkaran Bhandari. So either Mr. Kejriwal knows or he doesn't know. If Mr. Kejriwal knows, then he is complicit and he should not be Chief Minister. If he does not know, then he is not even aware, he is not in control of his party, and then he should not be Chief Minister. I'm just saying either one has to apply. Is there a grey area here?
Anand, the situation seems to be that Ms. Zariwala is not acquainted with the facts, not acquainted with the law, in fact not acquainted with the reality itself. What is the fact? The fact is a policy came into being and the policy was later changed or cancelled themselves because lot of corruption allegations arose. What is the law? If you tailor a policy to receive kickbacks, you alter a policy for your own benefit, that policy is an illegal policy, that is a crime. And what is the reality? Reality is Mr. Sisodia is in jail for 1 year. Reality is Mr. Kejriwal is in jail. Forget them. In a separate case, another member of cabinet, Mr. Satyendra Jain is in jail. Out of the cabinet, almost 50% is in jail, and that also the heavyweights, the CM, the deputy CM, the senior minister, they are in jail. And we are discussing as if ED bad, CBI bad, ED bad, CBI bad is a sufficient answer to all that. But to answer your question, is Mr. Kejriwal aware or not aware? Let us see what AAP has done in AAP's own words. Once Mr. Kejriwal was arrested, there were people of AAP coming out that he is talking about, I think, some garbage issue or some waterlogging issue, a micro issue which an MLA would deal with. And statements were made by senior minister, even in jail, he was thinking about such micro issues. If Mr. Kejriwal, and this is AAP's own statements, was looking at such micro issues which a councillor on an MLA deals with, then one of the biggest revenue earners for any state, excise policy, can it be contemplated it was made without the knowledge of the chief minister? That is, of course, outside the purview of common sense. But if you want to argue that, you can argue that. But their own statements of how focused Mr. Kejriwal is on every small issue of Delhi will come in face of arguing that the biggest revenue generator for a state, or one of the biggest revenue generators of state, you had no role in tailoring the policy. I don't think so. That will fly in the court, and that is the reason for the panic in Aam Aadmi Party, and that is the reason they are probably not resigning as the chief minister.
Well, we've got pictures of the Aam Aadmi Party convener, patron-in-chief Arvind Kejriwal being whisked off by the CBI towards their office, their main office, amidst high security. Most of the roads have also been barricaded. These are pictures that are just coming in. 3 days, and the CBI says we need to question Mr. Kejriwal about a lot of things. We're going to pause here.